Okay, good day. From the previous lessons, you have learned the other area of inferential statistics, and that's what we call hypothesis testing. There is another area of inferential statistics which involves in finding if there exists a relationship between two variables, and that's what we call correlation and regression. So for this week, pag-aaralan natin correlation, and next week, pag-aaralan natin yung regression. Okay? And for this week, here are our lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, you're expected to draw a scatter plot for a set of ordered pairs to compute the correlation coefficient, yun yung R, na pag-aaralan natin tomorrow. And lastly, we're going to test if there is a significant relationship yung sa ating na-compute na correlation coefficient using the null hypothesis rho equal to 0, meaning there is no relationship. And for this day, i-attain natin yung first objective of our lesson, which is to draw a scatter plot for a set of ordered pairs. So therefore, our topic for this day is scatter plots. Okay. Now, in simple correlation and regression studies, ang researcher, they collect data on two quantitative variables to see if there is a relationship between these variables. Like for example, if someone wishes to see whether there is a relationship between number of hours of study and test scores and exam. So, ibig sabihin, ang pag-aaral ba na pagbibigay ba ng mahabang oras sa pag-aaral before taking the examination will result to a high score in exam, or yung konting oras pa na pag-aaral before o kumuha ng examination will result to a low test scores. Okay, alamin natin yon. Now, here is our uh, sample data that we obtained randomly from students with their number of hours of study and their equivalent examination score. Okay? Now, meron tayo dito tinatawag na dalawang variables, na independent variable at saka dependent variable. Pag sinabing independent variable, yun yung variable na can be controlled. Okay? Can be controlled. In the case po ng ating halimbawa, ito yung ating number of hours of study. Okay? While yung ating dependent variable, ito naman yung cannot be controlled or manipulated. Sa case ng ating example, ito yung grade of the students received right after taking the examination. Okay? Now, yung number of hours of study depends on, the grade of the student depends on the number of hours of study. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na dependent variable. Okay? Now, yung ating independent variable tinatawag ding explanatory variable at yung ating dependent variable tinatawag ding response variable. Now, another example is, let's say we have a study about the effects of age on a person's blood pressure. So therefore, ang ating independent variable dito is age, while our dependent variable is the blood pressure of that person. Kasi nakalagay dito, ang kanyang study is effects of age on a person's blood pressure. So dumedepende yung blood pressure do sa age of the person. Okay? Now, our objective for this day is to draw the ordered pairs in the xy plane. Ang tawag natin doon is scatter plot. Okay? That is a graph of the ordered pairs x, y of numbers consisting of the independent variable x and the dependent variable y. So, ibig sabihin, yung x natin is the independent variable at yung ating independent variable, measured natin from the horizontal axis or x-axis, while yung ating dependent variable, measure natin from the vertical axis. So, to plot or to graph ordered pairs gamit yung ating xy plane, gagamitin natin yung values of the independent and dependent variables in finding the scatter plot of our data. Okay? Now, there are types of relationships. Okay? Itong figure na nauna, ito ay merong positive linear relationship. So, papansin natin kapag yung independent variable x increases, yung ating dependent variable y also increases. So, ibig sabihin nito, yung ating points form somewhat of straight line going in what we call this, an upward direction from left to right. Okay? So parang kung i-represent natin itong straight line, ang slope nito is positive. Okay? Now, we have another figure, another type of relationship. We have here a negative linear relationship. Yung pattern natin sa ating scatter plot ay mapapansin natin yung independent variable as this increases, yung ating dependent variable nagdi-decrease naman. Okay? Tapos yung ating points, somewhat straight line going in a downward direction from left to right. Ibig sabihin nun, if we're going to draw a straight line passing through these points, ang ating straight line na dito ay may negative slope. Okay? Now, another pattern dun sa ating scatter plot na plot nating points, ganito, curvilinear relationship. Pag curvilinear relationship, this is some type of nonlinear relationship. Walang relationship yung dalawang variables natin. Okay? At we have here na basically no relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable kasi walang pattern. Okay? Walang pattern tayong makikita. Okay? Now, how we're going to draw a scatter plot in the XY plane? Meron tayong procedure table na susundin. Number 1 is draw and label the x and y axis. Step 2, plot each point on the graph. 3, determine the type of relationship, if any, that exists for the variables. Alamin natin kung may relationship. That is the last step. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you 3 examples on how to draw a scatter plot given yung ating ordered pairs. Thank you.